All right, good morning, everybody. Looks like all of the important people are on the training, so we should start. All right, any questions before we get going with what I'm going to talk about today? All right, I guess not. So
What are you
thank you
going to
all.
talk about?
Sorry, Russ, I was
What am I
muted.
going to? Oh, you're good. Go ahead, Aubrey.
I had a question actually. I'll ask you later. It's more about contracts. I know there's the exclusive right to sell. Is what's the other one? I know there's another one that's it's not an exclusive right to sell. But still a listing agreement.
Oh, the exclusive agency agreement.
Okay, that was it. I'll ask you about that later.
Okay. Yeah. And the idea, just kind of quickly with everybody on here, the idea of the exclusive agency is that it can only be sold by our brokerage under an exclusive agency agreement. So, anyway, cool. All right. And then Lisa's question was, what are we going to talk about? So, I guess since there's no other questions, we'll jump into that. So, just something that we have noticed a little bit recently, not bad, but just a little bit. And question a lot of time comes up that agents have is in terms of what if the property is in a corporation, so an LLC or any type of a corporation, doesn't really matter what type of it is, or what happens if it's in a trust or somebody's doing it with a power of attorney. And so, what I thought I would talk about today is just a little bit about those things. But before getting into that, just a reminder of, especially on the listing side, well, we'll talk both the listing and the buyer side. But in terms of the listing side, when you get an opportunity to get a listing, where are you guys going to find out who is on title? What are you doing to figure that out?
Tax assessor.
Okay, tax assessor, which is great. That's awesome. Anyone doing anything different?
Title, and I ask him for a pre-listing report.
Okay, so you're
Yeah.
going to title. Okay,
Same.
great.
Same over here.
Good. Perfect. Okay, good. Yeah. So with the tax assessor, keep in mind that's where I always go as well. Is we'll go on the MLS and look it up. Is just keep in mind it's mostly accurate most of the time, but there are still going to be times that it's not. And so, just a quick story that some of you have probably heard me tell before, but it's just my best story that I've heard on it, so I use it all the time. I had an agent that I was coaching that got a listing, and when he looked at the tax records, it showed just one person's name on it. So he went and listed the property. But then when he got the preliminary title report, it showed two people on title. So the agent was new, came into me and said, "What do I do?" And I said, "You need to find out who the other person is and go get them to sign the contract." So he went to find out who it was, found out it was this guy's mom that was on title. And long story short was she supposedly wasn't available. Now, whether that was true or not, I don't know. But after 2 weeks of trying to find the mom, we finally got a hold of her, and the mom was mad because we had listed the property. It was on the MLS. He had received an offer. We had countered the offer, luckily countered it to be subject to her signing. And when she didn't, that gave us the out. But she was mad because we had even listed it, put it on the MLS, done all that stuff. So just keep in mind as that we always want to make sure we know who is on title, and then now transitioning that to what I want to talk about today. So if the property is in the name of a corporation, or it's in the name of a trust, or it is somebody's going to be signing as a power of attorney. So what I want to talk about is just how those need to be signed and what needs to take place in those type of scenarios. So in the event that the property is in title to the corporation or a trust, so either one, we are going to want to have, you are going to want to have, when I say we, meaning agents, we want to get from the seller, if it's in the corporation, we want a copy of their or articles of incorporation showing who has the right to sign on behalf of that company. And, or I guess I should say, if it's in a trust, we want a copy of the trust showing who has the right to sign on behalf of the trust. Okay. So now that we've checked that, we've got a copy of the trust, or we've got the copy of the articles of incorporation showing who can sign on behalf of that trust or that corporation. How then are we going to have them sign it? So, any thoughts on how we would have them sign that?
They have to sign it as if they are the appointed representative, correct?
Okay, good. I love it. And how would they do that?
On the line below their signature or beside their signature, they sign with their title along with the date.
Okay,
Isn't
good
that
thinking.
also, isn't it noted in the, like, if it's a trust, how it is on the trust, and if it's articles of corporation, isn't it spelled out how it is there?
I'm not sure I understand what you're saying. Meaning, in the
Um,
trust,
In the
it's going
trust,
to
it
spell it out.
states, well, it states how the trust is named. So if you have,
Okay, good. Yeah. So first thing, good. First thing is on the contract up for who the seller is, or if it was the buyer, you're going to put in there the name of either the company or the name of the trust, whatever the name of the trust is or the name of the company is. And then, though, when it comes time to signing, though, we have seen where sometimes what happens is somebody signs the name of the company on the signature line rather than signing their own name. So if I were if I had the ability to sign on behalf of this corporation, whatever the name of the corporation is, well, let's just say that it's Everest. So it's Everest, Century 21 Everest LLC. Oops, LLC is the name of the company. Then if I were going to sign for it, I would sign my name, comma, manager. Okay. So I would sign it as a manager of the company. So if it's in the name of Everest LLC, then that's great. You would still list it as that's who the owner of the property is, Everest LLC, or whatever the name of the company was. But then as far as signatures go, it's whoever's signing, and we want to verify they have the right to be signing. They're going to sign it, comma, manager. If it's in a trust, so let's just say that I had a trust set up and this was the name of the trust. Then when I sign it, I would then sign, well, let's say that I died. Let's say it's in the name of the trust and I died. Well, then it would fall to my wife. And so if she were going to come in and sell this property, you would still list the name of the seller as being Russell K. Orchard Trust. But then my wife would come in and sign her name, comma, trustee. Okay. So that's how signatures should take place. And yesterday, actually, we had a little bit of a struggle on one of these where the person was using DocuSign, and I'm not real familiar with DocuSign, but where they were doing the initials, instead of it being, RO as just the initials, it was doing ROM because they had signed correctly like this as manager. So anyway, those can be some of the challenges and struggles. So any questions on those so far, and then we'll talk about the difference of doing it as a power of attorney. Okay, I'm going to take it. There's no questions then. So good. So anytime it's in the corporation, you're going to list the name of the corporation, the person sign, comma, manager. If it's in the trust, they're going to sign it, comma, trustee, and you should be good to go. And again, on that, we just want to make sure we have a copy of the trust showing that they can sign on behalf of it. And the other thing to keep in mind as well that can be an issue on it that we want to make sure. And so usually your best bet is get a copy of the trust and give it to the title company. but is you want to make sure that that trustee does have the right to be signing on behalf of the trust, but then also that they have the powers to do it for real estate as well, which that same thing applies now with what we're going to talk about with a power of attorney. Is sometimes people may be given power of attorney. Yeah, hang on one sec, Lisa. Somebody may be given power of attorney, but it may not allow them to transfer real estate. So we want to make sure on the power of attorney that. Go ahead, Lisa.
Just a little cheerful earful about what's most current is being recorded. And somebody said the assessor's office. It isn't. If you really want to get the most current, go to the recorder's office. We'd like to think everything gets electronically transferred quickly and instantly. It isn't. Sometimes there is so much lag time and things sit on people's desks. Just go to the recorder's office.
Thanks for
where-
saying that, Lisa. Appreciate it.
Those offices don't, like if you update an address or something, sometimes you've got to go to the separate offices. They don't all speak to one another.
That is so true. But especially on this, if someone were set out to do fraud, like that story Russ just told us and stuff, you know, if that guy was set out to commit fraud against his mother or something, you know, something like that, or something, that name change may not get to where it should go. But if somebody's recorded something, it happens in the recorder's office. So the most accurate and most instant place to find that would be the recorder's office.
Yeah, love it. Thank you.
But Russ, isn't it true that, I mean, they've got to bring the papers for the trust to the title
Yes.
company anyway.
Correct.
And I think
Right.
you should do that when you take the listing.
Correct. Yeah. So, but again, I want to go back to, like, most of the time agents are typically starting with the tax assessor, and that's fine. Just, it's okay. It's going to be right most of the time, but as Lisa brought up and Rebecca, it may not always be the case. So
Right. But
just
their
really for
goal is just to get it paid. They're not really too interested in what entity pays it.
sure. Yeah, it's
Sure.
just the main thing again is just, go and order that preliminary title is really kind of the answer to this, is get that ordered as quick as you can and talk to the title company. So cool. Okay. Now let's talk about power of attorney. So with the power of attorney, what you're going to do on that is you're still going to list the name of the seller as being whoever the seller is. But in the situation of a power of attorney, they've now, for whatever reason, can't be acting on their own behalf. And so they've given somebody else that power of attorney to act on their behalf. Well, what they're going to do then is you're going to spell it out this way. So you're going to put their name. So in this case, I'm just going to put principal's name by, and then the signer's name, comma, attorney, in fact. So when there is what did I do wrong there? Oh, I didn't put the apostrophe there, I guess. Okay, so you're going to put principal's name, comma, signer's name, attorney in fact. So let's say that my wife had given me power of attorney, so then I would put Jenny Orchard, Orchard, comma. Oh, I left one piece out up there. Bye. So I would put Jenny Orchard, gosh, I'm messing this up big time. Okay. By Russell, can't even spell my name, Orchard, and then comma, attorney, in fact. Hopefully you guys can see that still. Let me see if I can drag it up here. Not working real well, so I'll just get rid of this upper one. There we go. Okay, so yeah, so when it's you've got a power of attorney. You're going to list the principal's name. So in this case, I would have been done my wife, Jenny Orchard, by Russell Orchard, comma, attorney in fact. And then same thing in terms of initialing, you would put their initials by your initials, comma, attorney in fact, which is kind of a pain, but that's how you would need to do that as well there. So, all right. Any questions on power of attorney? Exciting stuff, huh?
Well, that's really helpful.
I have a
Yeah.
question. So did you say that when you're initialing on every initial line, do you write, let's see, J-O for R-O, comma, attorney in fact on the initial lines?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah. Yep. You'd
it's
have to
it's a
do
lot of
JO by
okay, it's a
RO.
lot of ink signing then, ideally.
Yeah.
Not
well,
ideally,
either that
but
or, yeah.
it's kind of complicated to do that in DocuSign per your previous comment, right?
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. So anyway, but yeah, that's how you would need to do that, to have it be legal. That's the way you're going to go about doing it. So like I say, it's not something we come across a whole bunch, and we don't see a lot of mistakes with it, but just occasionally we do. And I think it's always a good reminder. And I know a lot of times, even after we've talked about this, like it makes sense today, but then next week somebody will be like, oh, now how did you do that again? And so just know you can always call and ask, and that's fine, and we'll help you out. Typically when Brianna sees it, she's got a from one of the Tuesday tips from a couple years ago, actually almost 3 years ago now, that she will just send out as a reminder of this is the way that you will structure it and do it. So anyway, cool. Well, thank you all. Thanks for being here. Remember that Monday is President's Day, so the office will be closed. So if you're needing anything like earnest monies delivered and stuff, there won't be anybody here on Monday to do that. So any other questions, anything I can help you guys with?
Hey Russ, would the timing be good for Brianna to maybe send that out now, just as a reminder, following this conversation?
Yeah, probably not a bad idea. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just type it up and send it out to everybody. In fact, I'll get it all structured and set up, and then I'll just have it go out on Tuesday as a Tuesday tip, since that's what it was before. So
Oh,
yeah, it's a great
perfect.
idea.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Thanks, Gillian.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Thank
Hey,
you.
yeah, enjoy your President's Day long day
Thank
weekend.
you.
Hope everyone gets a new listing. Talk to you later.
Me too.
Thanks, Russ.
See ya.